All right. Here we go again. We did another session about generative AI. It is a topic of the year, and I'm sure all of you are super excited to hear more about the applications of generative AI. We have seen a lot of B2C use cases coming out of chatbots and ChatGPT and Bard and Llama. Um, but it is as interesting to see how ChatGPT, GPT-4, and all these foundation models are being used in the enterprises. Um, I have talked to many professionals around the world about the use cases for different industries and how it is deployed right now in to help enterprises to actually add value to the businesses. So I'm really excited to hear our guest's point of view about it. So that's something that I'm going to specifically ask. But first of all, let me know where you're tuning in from. I know that we have a pretty diverse audience, and um, I'm always excited to see you and to get to know the people that are watching. So if you have any specific questions, put it in the comments below. I make sure that either I ask it during the conversation or I answer after the this talk. So um, without further ado, I would like to introduce our uh, awesome guest today. So here we go. Prem is the CEO of Katonic, and we are very excited to have you here, Prem.
Hey Steve, same here. It's always exciting to talk to you. I'm quite looking forward to the discussion we're going to have today. Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that's great. I mean, as I said, it's a very trendy topic. A lot of people are talking about it. Um, it probably got the attention of the VCs as well. They're putting a lot of effort and money into this. Many people are trying to build on top of these generative AI um, applications and add more value for the customer. So it's all great, but I would like to hear from you. Like, where are these generative AI used, and what are the, I guess, uh, your your view on this?
Yeah, look, absolutely. And there's a lot of excitement about generative AI, and for right reasons, because people are comparing generative AI with the internet moment and the Apple moment or the mobile moment, and I probably agree with them because if you look back 5 to 10 years, so I've look all my life I've worked with enterprises, helping them solve problems with technology. Technology kept changing, but problems usually remain the same. It's always to see how you can improve your top line, reduce your bottom line, improve customer experiences, improve employee engagement, and things like that. But this time, generative AI is really, changing the game because it is putting AI in the hands of enterprises. So just the way ChatGPT, which got about 100 million users in 2 months, right? Uber took about 6 years, put AI into hands of common man, and it was so easy to get value. And I'm sure all of us have used. Now, ChatGPT is powered by foundation model, right? And these foundation models are open sourced, right? You talked about Llama, which is from Facebook. There's GPT-4, and these open source models are now available for enterprises to use. So it is actually really, put, given this power to the into the hands of enterprise. And traditionally, what would take months and years to build, right? So if you go back few years, if you had to build any, if you had to solve a problem using AI, you had to identify a task, build a model, set up a team, identify data, do feature engineering, do experimentation, and then deploy model. So it was a labor intensive process, and AI was more about helping humans take better decisions. And only the CXO, CIOs, director level people could afford to have such programs. But with generative AI, these large language models are trained on humongous amount of data, and with prompt tuning, which is more or less speaking in English, it's like a genie. and you can just take a lamp and then whisper a few words, and you can ask the genie to do a classify a sentiment of an email. You can, extract information. So look, very exciting times. Enterprises have started looking at it more seriously and looking at it from transforming. So it's interesting times. But let me hear from you on. Yeah, I'll pass it back to you to see what you say. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like I've seen a lot of applications for B2C. As you know, like I founded this sort of a marketplace called Generative AI, and there are lots of projects coming every day that are some of them are very innovative, and some of them kind of doing the same thing. But what happens is just it's very obvious that it's adding value to the users, especially the public users. So as you mentioned, like how it is being used, is generating text, images specifically, and the video is coming now. I'm really excited to understand more actually the enterprise use cases, and um, I'm not seeing as much um, being used in the corporate world. So yeah, would be great to get your point of view on why it's not happening
No, no,
as much, or
absolutely.
are you seeing the same?
No, no, I agree with you. So if you see, while generative AI is great, chat GPT is great, it's been banned at most of the organizations I know, right? And for obvious reasons, right? One is the security concerns, because employees knowingly, unknowingly, they upload data which they're not supposed to. And we don't know what happens to that data, because essentially you're calling an API which is hosted somewhere else. And then you have the latency issue, there's cost issue, and more importantly, hallucination, right? So what I mean by hallucination is because these large language models are trained on humongous amount of data, they don't know the context, and sometimes they just cook up things. And we have heard of instances where a lawyer got into trouble because the chat GPT ended up giving him cooked up.
Yeah,
So these are the problems, and enterprises have banned, but enterprises are not ignoring. But for enterprises to really benefit from generative AI, there are certain things which they have to keep in mind, right? So the biggest thing for enterprises, for them to get generative AI in mind, is the data security, right? That's the biggest, because they don't want their data to let go, right? And they're quite and the security team will not allow the data to let go. So there are certain challenges which they see, which so so for enterprises to start embracing generative AI, and that's where we come in. There are five or six things they really are looking at. One is security governance. The second thing is, there's a lot of closed source, large language models out there like OpenAI, Palm, uh, others. But then the problem is enterprises are really not comfortable giving out the data to them. So they're looking at fine tuning their own OpenAI application. So they're looking at a platform which can help them fine tune, right, and govern and secure. But more importantly, we don't know who the winners are in the LLM. Right, so they are looking for a platform which is open, which can let them bring any open source model and fine tune. And more importantly, this entire there's a lot of innovation happening in the open source world, and they're looking for a platform or a capability where they're able to bring that innovation in on a very regular basis and not get stuck into an application or an opinionated system which gets outdated in a while. So these are the key things. Enterprises, and look, I agree with you. Enterprises are a bit worried about the copyright issues, because these large language models are trained on humongous amount of data. So we don't they're not sure what kind of trouble they might get into. So if you look at generative AI, and look, well, there are a lot of use cases. Everything boils down to about 8 key tasks, right? So the first task is you can build a chatbot or an AI assistant on your data, right? Then there's an extraction task where you can extract information from large documents, invoices. Then there is summarization, right? Then there is recommendation engines you can build. There's about 8 tasks which enterprises do, and at this moment they're not very bullish on generative. So not many are looking at using generative AI for actually creating new images and new content. Everyone is looking at the focus is more on extraction. So if you ask me, the 3 key areas or 4 key use cases which enterprises are looking at, the first one, which is blockbuster, is uh, called grounded chatbots, or retrieval augmented generation. What it means is that you use the power of large language model, but you don't rely on the data. You actually take your data, you replace its data with your data, And securely, you're able to use the power of data, power of the large language model to give you question and answer on your information. So that is called RAG, or grounded chatbots, right? And that's what we help you do. You can build chatbots powered by the vector databases and lang chains, right? So that's the first one. Second one, enterprises are looking at semantic search, because search has been there a while, but it's mostly keyword search. So they're looking at semantic search, where you ask a question, it will go through all your data, answer it, and also point you to the data sets from where it's picked up, right? The third one is classification, where they are using the large language model capability to classify emails, say for example for sentiments, or if there is an email coming in, is the email food related problem, like, so that they can triage it. And then extracting, so these are the four use cases where we are seeing enterprises comfortable with. If you see, none of it is generative, so they're not going to get into trouble. If at all OpenAI gets into trouble, legal trouble. So I feel that most of the enterprises will start with these four, and eventually start fine tuning, as more and more large language models come, which are more reliable and commercially acceptable. People will start probably fine tuning it further and move towards more generative, and then more image and video, right? So I think enterprises will probably gravitate towards large language models, or more on the text based modality, before jumping into image and video, because the risks are higher there, right? So yeah, that's how I probably see. I'm not sure if you see the same, but I'm definitely seeing that, and everybody is experimenting. They are looking at the grounded chatbots as a starting point to understand how they can get benefited from generative AI. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Prem. I mean, I agree. I mean, I'm seeing kind of the same, um, um, I guess, hesitation to jumping into generative part of the generative AI, and mostly they're trying to figure out how they can embed it into their these companies, how they can embed it into their current, I guess, processes, and to just add productivity and help their I guess, employees to be able to do whatever they're doing right now a little bit better and faster. It's either a search, either summarization, a search, getting some insights, deeper insights quicker, and things like that. So, and as you mentioned, like the same risks that you just mentioned, they are aware of it and they're trying to understand how they can mitigate them. That's why they are very excited about the products that can add value in the governance and sort of guardrails, and also the privacy and things that would make them more, I guess, safe on some of these aspects. So I know that Katonic started as an MLOps and DevOps sort of a product, and you just recently announced some interesting features and generative AI products. So I would like to understand, like, um, first of all, what are these features? I'm really excited about them as well. And then give us a little bit of understanding of if there was any shift between the product offering or the future roadmap for Katonic.
No, absolutely. That's a great question. I'm surprised not many really have asked me this. So thank you for asking. So, look, we essentially started as a machine learning operations platform, which helps large organizations implement AI, quickly, securely. So it was more a tool which we offered data scientists, machine learning engineers to do their job better. So it was more of a productivity game for them. But if you see, when in the machine learning operations, there are different parts, right? So there is ID environments, there is experimentation, there is data labeling, then there is model deployment, there's model governance and things like that. So this is the traditional machine learning, right? So with the generative AI and with transformers, right, that were always part of the machine learning operations. But the thing was, it was so generative AI or transformers were subset of what we used to offer. But with its popularity, it's actually turned the other way, right? So generative AI is become so popular, and when you're looking at generative AI, some of the things like feature engineering, experimentation doesn't hold good, but still the governance, the deployment part, right? The Kubernetes. So Ketonic lives on Kubernetes. I think one of the key thing which enterprises are looking at is, infrastructure agnostic. They really don't want a solution which is tied to a particular infrastructure. They want to be LLM or foundation model agnostic, so they want to have the ability to bring any foundation model of their choice depending on the task. So see, it's so if you see, it wasn't a product shift as such. We didn't pivot to a new product. The product still remains the same. The pivot is more towards messaging. And what we also realized is that generative AI gives the ability for enterprises to build powerful applications with almost zero data, right? You can do a zero shot or few shot training and build a which means that anybody could do it, right? And instead of doing it using a traditional MLOps, which is code first or no code, we decided to build a completely no code experience for business users who have no idea about AI whatsoever. It's a complete different application sitting on top of our MLOps. So that we have our MLOps and we have the no code generative AI platform sitting on top of it for them to build these powerful applications, which is task based. So, like I said, I talked about 8 tasks. I probably mentioned 4 or 5. I think the two which I didn't mention is data analysis. So there are organizations who have a lot of data and they want to have a conversation with their data. Say, for example, for one of our customer, we're building a chatbot which can have conversation on their Snowflake. So you can go in and say, okay, can you tell me my top 5 paying customers in Sydney? So what it does is we use the power of large language model to convert that into a SQL, and all this is happening on customers' infrastructure, right? Katonic installs, we build a chatbot securely, and then we actually the large language model creates a SQL, and then it will then get the data from Snowflake, give you an answer in English. Like now, business users now suddenly, instead of depending on hundreds of dashboards like Power BI, Tableau, or requesting for one, can now have direct conversation with data. Right, that's another use case which is going to get more and more popular. And as time passes, code assist. So today people hesitate to use code assist because they don't know, if the large language model which has been trained on the code was legitimate or not. But organizations are looking at fine tuning the models using their code and start using that, right? So look, MLOps, you still need MLOps, you still need pipelines. Say, for example, if you build a chatbot, while the chatbot is doing good, the data is never stagnated, right? It keeps changing. So you need to have pipelines which can pull data from various sources and put it into a vector database. So your chatbot is fresh, which means that you still need, connectors, you still need pipelines. If you're fine tuning, you still need experimentation, model tracking, model deployment. So essentially, it's the same engine, right? But we built this no code platform on top of it and abstracted a lot of complexity, which traditionally would be done by data scientists and data engineers. So I hope that answers. That's the simplest answer I could give to your question, but
Yeah,
definitely a
yeah,
great
no,
question. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
no, that's great. Thank you for, I guess, confirming the roadmap and the vision. So I don't know if you have a chance or time to, because I'm excited to see how does it look like, because that's the proof is in the pudding, as everybody says. If you have a chance and time to actually show us the platform a little bit, that would be great.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, we've also launched a free version of the platform for users to come and build AI application. So happy to do a quick demo. What I could do is I could we could do three, like I said, the three most popular ones is grounded chatbot. We can build one quickly. Maybe on your AI for diversity, I'm a big fan of your AI for diversity camp, the initiative which you've taken. And then we could also
Thank you.
quickly using prompt. So Katonic offers a prompt studio. We can look at building a extraction model and a classifier as well. So if you're ready to see things in action, let me just bring up, let me share the
Sounds good.
screen. Yeah, let me just, okay, I'm going to share the entire screen so that it's easy. Yeah, are you able to see the screen, Steve?
I think it's there. Yes, I think
Okay,
everybody
fantastic.
can see it.
This is great. So let me just quickly, go back to a slide which will talk about the various tasks. So just a refresher. So like I said, there are look, everything about generative AI doesn't matter what use case or industry it is. Everything boils down to 8 key use cases, and the approach we have taken is that we let business users build 8 tasks, I mean. So we let business users build AI applications for these tasks, right? So the first task, which is the chatbot, right? So you can have a grounded chatbot, or it could be dynamic. So you could look at using the creative, thing of OpenAI or any large language model. So you can use for summarization. So there's a lot of use cases. So you can take these financial reports, summarize them. You can take transcripts of a meeting or a video like this and summarize it. There's generative, there's code assist, there's extraction. So extraction of data, extraction of information from invoices, so that you can automate your payroll payments and invoice payment and things like the data analysis we talked about, having conversation with your data, classifying information, and then doing a semantic search. So these are the key ones. So what I'll do is I'll focus on chatbots, extract and classify, because those are the key areas where we're seeing most of our customers do it. So but before I do the demo, it's always good to understand under the hood what happens, because when I say that we do it securely without your data leaving, it's important to understand how it really happens, and then I can show that on the platform. So look, as you rightly mentioned, these large language models are very huge, and they're trained on humongous amount of data, but mostly it's publicly available data. It might be outdated, or it might not be factual. So what happens is, when you ask a particular question around a particular business, they end up hallucinating, right? That's a big problem, and that's where this retrieval augmented generation or grounded chatbot technique comes in. I'll skip this slide, I'll go to the next one. So how it really works is essentially for organizations. So firstly, Katonic installs on customers premises. So we live on Kubernetes, so you can install it on GCP, AWS, VMware, Tanzu, doesn't matter what infrastructure they have. And once Katonic is installed on Kubernetes, they can upload all the data, and we convert all of the data into small chunks, and we use embedding algorithms to convert that into small embeddings and put it into a vector database. Don't worry if you don't understand all of it, but essentially this is how even chat gpt works. So they probably have a big vector database, and they do all of this. So once we've done this, when you ask a particular question, so your data, the vector database is spun automatically on Katonic, right? So once you then ask a particular question, then what we do is we do a similarity check on the vector database, and we use the power of large language model to give you an answer. So which means that we use the power of LLM, but at the same time, the entire data is securely sitting inside the enterprise. And this large language model can be either open source or closed source, depending on the customer's need, right? So this is under the hood. What we have done is we've abstracted all of that, and we have two versions. So one is a free version, where you can do all of this just by clicking, but we only support website and files there. But if you're an enterprise, things get really complicated. You probably have data all over the place, and most of the organizations prefer to have one vector database. You don't create multiple vector databases. So this is the future. Every organization will have a vector database in next 2 years, and all the unstructured data, which is currently dark data, we have over 300 connectors to connect to that, and you can schedule those connectors to every 5 minutes, 10 minutes, depending on your convenience, and bring all of them into the vector database. And your chatbots or your search engines, which are running on top of the vector databases, are always fresh, right? So that's why you need a MLOps kind of a platform to do all this, because this is the hard part, right? And with data security and data velocity and data variety and data quantity, right, you definitely need a platform which is scalable. So that's under the hood. Any questions on this, Steve? Happy to answer if there's any question, or if you think audience
No, it
might.
looks good. Yeah, now thanks for giving us a little bit perspective of the theory and what's happening behind the scene. So yeah, would love to see
Awesome.
the
So
platform.
yeah, let's go for it. So look, like I said, it's completely. So what I'm showing you is the no code generative AI platform. So it's completely business friendly. Anybody can build any of these applications, which I talked about. So in those 8 tasks, I probably didn't talk about recommendation engine and content moderation. We are seeing a lot of organizations looking at these two use cases as well. So from 8 tasks, I probably, in my next slide when I present, it will be 10 tasks. So yeah, so get into the platform, it's a very simple user interface. So all you need to do is go create a project, and it's a task based approach, right? So these are coming soon, but these are already live. And remember, this is a free version of the platform. You can just go to Katonic.ai and just sign up for a free version, and you can do all the things which I'm going to show you here. So in this case, let's say we want to build a AI assistant which can answer any question on this website, right? AI for diversity. Steve, kudos to you. I love your vision. I know you're doing fantastic work here. I'm very supportive
Thank
of
you.
this. So let's say, what we want to do is build a AI assistant which can answer any question your, your any questions who wants to have any question on AI so all you need to do is just go to chat, give a project name, give a description, go to create, and once you go to create, you can upload files. So if you have all your data which is in the website in the form of a file, you can just upload that, or you can just put the links here. So in the free version, we restrict 5 URLs, and we don't really scrape the entire website because of various reasons. So you need to just go and manually add the links. So in this case, we add the page, we add about. Right, in the interest of time, we'll probably just do that. And once you've done that, you click next, and this is where Katonic's differentiator comes in. So we let you choose the LLM of your choice, right? So you can bring your own LLM. You can fine tune one, or you can let AI choose the best AI LLM, right? That's the easiest. If you're a business user, you'll probably select this. And once you've done this, the next step is to really uh, you know uh, customize your chatbot, right? Ask me anything, right? And put the appropriate guardrails, especially if it is going to be customer facing. You definitely don't want to be getting into trouble. So we have a proper guardrails and filters which we can put restrictions either on your competitors or a certain words you don't want them to use. Personalization, so you can say you're a helpful, polite, you can personalize, so you will say friendly, then you can put any additional instruction, and that's it. Once you say next, all the things which I showed you, that we go scrape the website, we convert that into chunks, we create embeddings from that, we spinning a vector database. All that is happening now on Catonic. And remember, this can be on your infrastructure, right? So the data never leaves. So yeah, the model, the the chatbot is ready, and once you click deploy, it just deploys, right? It will take
Pretty
about a
quick.
minute. Yeah, that's it. Takes about a minute. In the interest of time, we don't have a minute because Steve is a very busy man. So what I've done is I've created this before the meeting. So here, once you've done this, you have three or four different ways you can consume it. So you can just get this as an API. So we have a end-to-end proper API management where you can get access key and endpoint, and you can integrate this onto your website, your widgets. You can actually integrate this into Microsoft Teams. So we have done that. So we have integrated this into our Teams. I'll show you a demo of that. Customers love it. Or we give you a chat interface very similar to Chat GPT or Bard, where you can now start asking any questions about that particular data which we have uploaded, right? So I have already drafted few questions. Let's just ask a question. So let's say, can you tell me about your team? So the good thing is you don't need to, the questions can be very, very conversational, right? So when you say tell me about your team, it understands that it is asking about the team on the website. So it will give you an answer. Let's just, yeah. So the team, Steve is the visionary behind this, and then Jansen, Jim, Aruna, I definitely know her. So this
Yeah.
is the yeah. And the other interesting thing is, let's say you want to draft an email to a CEO of a company, right? And I'm sure you do this, telling them to partner with AI for diversity, right? For all the empowerment and knowledge and the collaboration activities which you bring in. This makes life easy for salespeople or anyone. So this is generative. This is a chatbot, but grounded on your data. So which means that it is not going to say anything which you have not uploaded. So all this is from your website. So if you see
Hmm.
it saying, "Hey CEO, how are you doing?" I'm doing it on behalf. It's asking for sponsorship, expert sharing. Uh, you know, I'll probably not spend too much time on this. Maybe I'll share this link. I'll let you play around with it. That's the good part. And in the
Sounds
next
great.
section, yeah, you can have your own logo. You can change the colors, the look and feel, everything, and you can make it look like yours. And you can actually integrate this. So yeah, here is the mission. So that's the power, right? Secure because it is sitting on your infrastructure. You decided what data you want it to know, right? And yeah, we're using the power of large language model, and even better for enterprises. So if you look at you can integrate this into Teams as well, and start asking questions. So let me just stop this for a while and then just go to that. Uh, uh, let me just do that. Yeah, let me share. This is my favorite part of integrating the entire experience, which I showed you on Microsoft Teams. So that really helps employees. So can you see my Microsoft Teams here?
Yes.
So we actually drink our own champagne. So when we are in calls with the customers, so customer says, "How's Katonic secure?" So it gives you what we've done is we've taken all our documents and uploaded that and created this bot and integrated. So it tells you how Katonic is secure. And then there are customers who might ask you, okay, how are you different from? So we compete with H2O.ai, Converge.io. So they'll ask you. So you can just ask for it. It creates tables. So life becomes very easy when you have a companion like this which knows everything about your company, and it's available 24/7 on your teams, so you don't need to go and log into any additional information, and then you can sleep well that all this data is securely sitting within your premises, and there is no way you're going to get in trouble. So that's the key, right? Using generative AI securely, responsibly is hard, and that's what we really make it easy. So that kind of concludes the first demo. Let me just quickly take a pause. Let me hear any thoughts from you, and then I can probably demo the extraction classifier and show you the prompt studio, which I'm very excited about. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's very interesting. I mean, I love the simplicity and the speed. That would definitely help users to try and experiment and understand how they can leverage it and where they can apply. So that's great.
Fantastic. I'm glad you liked it. So let's do one thing. Let's just now jump into the next use case. I promise I'll keep it under 5 minutes for both. Should
No worries.
that's the benefit of using a platform like us, because you can build use cases very quickly. So I'm back here, and before I do, I think it's always good to kind of set the a bit of a background on what's happening. So just like what I said, so I'll talk about extraction, right? So large language models are very good at language, right? But they can also go through documents and extract information for you, right? So in this case, you can use large language model to extract the details from this particular driving license or from an invoice. So for one of the scale up, they get about 40,000 invoices every day. Each invoice looks different. There's BSB here, so they wanted to extract, and they were able to extract with 100% accuracy, right? So that's and not only it extracts the the text, right, but it can also extract the context. So you can even upload a particular conversation and say, what is the profile of the people speaking. So that's even more powerful. And how we do that is essentially we provide something called prompt studio, where you can put your prompts. I'll show a live demo of that. But the beauty is that you can actually we are LLM agnostic, so we let you choose or bring your own LLM, right? So you can actually come in and you can put the details of any LLM you want, and now you're able to use Prompt Studio. So we give you a choice of using any LLM, and we give you the prompts. You can test and play around, and finally convert that into a scalable API on Katonic, and then you're able to do that. You can even fine tune that. So what I'll do is I'll straight go to the demo. I'll show you how we can extract information. So for today's demo, what I'm going to do is, so this is a W2 document. So this is for one of the bank in US, where we did and there's no confidential information, just a sample. So let's say this is your W2 form, very similar to a payslip you get in Australia, and you want to extract certain information from here, right? So all you need to do is, you can just come to the project here and say extract, and then create, right? And once you go, this is our prompt studio, and this is where you write prompts. And prompts, by the way, is just plain English. So in this case, let's say I'll just take the information from here, and I'm going to make you a AI developer now. So let's say in the given text, and all this is converted into an API, so you can upload these W2s in batches or API. So in the given text, extract what do we want? Employee social security number, right? extract social security number. That's it. This is prompt engineering, guys. You get 200k, pay 200k for this. 200k in the US for this, unbelievable. But yeah, so all you need to do is you put your instruction here, you put your text here from where you want to extract, and click a button. Boom! It just extracted the you can check it's extracted the security, the social security. By the way, you do you and give me in a JSON format, because you are a technical person. You probably want to integrate this down into a downstream system. Click a button, and boom, you got a JSON format. Now you're happy with this. You can add more examples, so you can do a few shot. This is zero shot, and once you're happy, just go to next, and then give a name to the application, and then deploy. It just deploys and it gets converted into a scalable API, and we also give you an app. So while this gets deployed, I want to show you Prompt Studio. What we've done is what I showed you is actually a Prompt Studio, but we also provide a pre-built templates across these various tasks. So in the case of extraction, let's say, sorry, in the case of extraction, we have use cases classification. So let's say you want to classify a particular email, right? So this is a pre-built prompt, because many a times we don't want you to actually start from scratch. So we are giving you templates. So let's say you want to do a sentiment analysis on an email. You want to know if the sentiment is going to be negative or positive, and I want a ranking between, let's say, 1 to 5, right? These are the things. So once you build your prompt, you just upload the email and test it, and you can see that here. And if you really and you can say, give me the results in JSON. Give me the results in JSON, right? And test, it's JSON. And if you're happy, you can save this prompt, right? And then you can use it later, and you can even deploy it using the generative AI. So if I go back to deploy, so the extraction prompt which we created, that's here. Now you get an API. So if you send a W2 form to this, it will give you the employee social security number, right? That's amazing. And this is sitting on Kubernetes, so you can monitor your model, because the key is, if there's suddenly somebody calling this API 1 million times, right? You don't want it to be going down, so you can do real time usage monitoring, the accuracy monitoring. But more importantly, what we realized is that many small and medium businesses, they can't do much with AI, API, because they don't have IT teams, or the IT teams probably will take too long. So what we do is we offer an app which is built. We built it on the fly. I didn't build anything before this, right? In this use case.
Yeah.
So what we do is we build an app. So one of the recruiter, she gets about 500 resumes, and she wrote a prompt saying extract these 10 information. And now she's able to do a batch inference where she uploads all the resumes and get all those 10 fields from each resume in an Excel, which was taking her 3 days. Now she's able to do it within a minute. And once the recruitment season is over, all you need to do is just go back here and delete, and then you free up your infrastructure, right, which is environmentally friendly as well. And you can do a batch inference. So if you put an email here, right, or the W2, so I can put the W2 here, uh, and submit. It will give you the whatever the prompt was, right? So that's the power, right? So we not only, that's the power of generative AI. So we built 3 use cases. So we built grounded chatbot, we built an extraction which extracts any information from W2, we did a classifier on the email, and in the next release, there's a lot of new exciting features coming up where you can do a lot more. Maybe we'll do a. But before I let you go, Steve, I just want to show you a Katonic playground. So there's so many foundation models coming every day. You talked about Llama. So we already have all the foundation models available for you to play around for free in Playground. So you can go. It's not a glorified directory. You can actually play around with Llama 2, 70 billion, or 13 billion, or 7 billion, or Vicuna, or Stable Diffusion. So we have over 75 open foundation models available for you to play around, and all this is for free. And of course, this is in beta, so we're still collecting feedback. And if you're listening to this, I know, Steve, you have a big fan follower. Please do sign up for the free version and give us feedback on what you think, because what we're doing on this side of the world, down under in Australia, not many organizations in the world are doing, and I'm sure Steve will agree. So back to you, Steve. Want to hear your
Thank
feedback.
you, thank you. Yeah, that's yeah. Thanks for showing the demo. I think it's really cool to see things in action, and I'm sure that our audience appreciated it, how things are easy and quick. They will definitely give it a try. I guess we only have a little bit of time for the last question. Um, what is the future for generative AI, and which industries do you think will should leverage it, or you will expect that will leverage generative AI more?
Look, generative AI, I already have customers who are legal companies, manufacturing. So generative AI is for all, right? But what I'm seeing is that organizations or enterprises will start with these popular use cases, and then probably start moving more towards generative use cases. But soon they'll realize that they need to be differentiating. So if you are a brand, and if everybody has access to what I showed you, everybody will start sounding the same in a year, right? So fine tuning will become more and more important. So organizations will start fine tuning their generative AI models so that they can talk like them, right? And that's where organizations like Katonic will help, but that's going to be the future. So I see a lot of adoption in every industry across these three or four use cases, and then organizations will move more into generative use cases, a bit more into image and video, depending on what industry you are in. But eventually, fine tuning is where every organization will get into, and every organization will have their own fine tuned model, and that is the way the data is your mode today. It's going to be the fine tuned model in the future. So, and I'm glad that we are able to be part of that journey for them. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Prem. I'm sure
Thank you.
that our audience loved it. I personally enjoyed the conversation, and especially getting to know what is coming from the product perspective and how it can help the enterprises. Um, Thank you, our great
Thank you.
supporters and viewers. Please make sure that you tune in for the next one as well. We always come up with some interesting news and great people that are visionary and they can share the insights. Thank you.